Welcome to a special edition of LC Screen Talk. My name is Larry, and today we're going to be doing an in-depth discussion on women and LGBT representation in films for 2015. So I've decided to make this an annual video because I'm really passionate about social justice issues, and obviously I'm really passionate about film. So I want to go ahead, take a look back at the previous year in film and how women were depicted and how the LGBT community was depicted, and if it was on an upswing or if Hollywood still has a lot of work to do. So let's go ahead, let's start with the bottom line. It's all about the box office to Hollywood. So how did women in leading roles fare when it came to box office? Well, the good news, much better than they did in 2014. 4 out of the top 10 highest grossing films of 2015 had a female in the leading role. And that is very encouraging because Star Wars The Force Awakens, which is on track to be the highest grossing film domestically, probably by the end of next week, had a female in the lead. But outside of Star Wars, we still had Inside Out, Mockingjay Part 2, and Cinderella all be in the top 10 highest grossing films of the year, so that's fantastic. And when we take a look at the top 20 grossing films of the year, that number gets to 7, so the percentage goes down, but it's still a much better number than last year when we only had 6 in the entire top 50. You might be looking at Box Office Mojo and wondering where I got that 7th from. Yes, I'm counting Mad Max Fury Road. Dispute all you want, Max may be in the title, but that was Furiosa's movie, and Charlize Theron was the main character of that film. Let's just be real with ourselves, shall we? But another encouraging number is that 10 female-led movies broke $100 million domestically, including 2 straight, flat-out comedies with Spy and Trainwreck. So that is very encouraging. And when we look at the entire top 100 highest grossing films, 30 of those were led by female actors. So while 30% is still not accurate to the 51-ish% of the population that women make up, it is much better than the 14% that they made up of the top 100 in 2014. Over double! So yay! Plus, I think overall this year was positive for women in Hollywood. For one, people started speaking out. So we all heard Jennifer Lawrence really speaking out, saying, hey, this is not cool, I was making less money, I'm never letting it happen to me again. And she was very outspoken. Plus, we all remember the award speeches that were given at the beginning of the year at the Oscars and Globes between Meryl Streep and Patricia Arquette. Very powerful speeches. Viola Davis gave a wonderful speech about diversity as well at the Emmys. But it's been in the public's face. People are now saying we're sick of it. We're not going to put up with this crap anymore. We deserve the same pay and we deserve the opportunity to lead films. Because look at this. It works. It doesn't matter if the Jedi is a male or a female. If it has Star Wars on the title, it's gonna sell tickets. So let's give some female characters something to do. Plus, there were 2 really high-profile instances of filmmakers sticking with their choice or changing their choice to make sure a female was in that lead role. One of them was Sicario, who started out with really strong awards buzz, has been making a lot of top 10 best movies of the year lists, just an overall really good movie. They stuck by their choice to write a female as that lead, even when the studio said, hey, why don't you just make that person a male and we'll give you some more cash, huh? But no, the director said, I'll stick with the budget I'm given. I want this to be a female lead. And Emily Blunt did fantastic. And the movie has been doing very well overall, both box office-wise, not a huge hit, but a good hit for the subject matter. And, critically, it's done very well. And then we had Our Brand is Crisis. Sandra Bullock came out and said, hey, after, my Oscar win, it's been super hard to come by good roles for women. I can't find anything that I even like. Who is willing to step up, change their male-led movie to a female lead for me? George Clooney said, hey, Sandy, I got your back. So our brand is Crisis switched from a male-led film to a female-led film. So that movie didn't quite crack the top 100 of the year, and in honesty, wasn't all that good. So hopefully that's not why George Clooney decided to switch. But it was positive to see a female actor come out and say that, have people respond, and get the results. I think there was talk about The Secret in Their Eyes, which was starring Julia Roberts, also being a male-led property to begin and switched over for her. But that movie also didn't get the best of reviews. So really only one of these experiments worked out for women. But hey, at least we saw some action. At least we saw something happening. And that was the overall positive theme of the year for women in movies in front of the camera. Behind the scenes, things still aren't looking all that much better. We had 4 out of the top 100 movies directed by women. So Pitch Perfect 2 was directed by Elizabeth Banks. 50 Shades of Grey was directed by Sam Taylor Johnson. The Intern was directed by Nancy Myers. And Love the Coopers was directed by Jessie Nelson. So 4 is, again, I think better than last year. I don't have the exact number on that one. But it's still terrible. 4 out of the top 100. Granted, all of these movies also had female writers. And there were a lot of movies that did have female writers. But wow, only 4. That's a terrible, terrible representation. And unfortunately, we're going to continue down the bad news train because the depiction of LGBT characters and the LGBT community also wasn't that much better. 0 films that made the top 100 box office this year had an LGBT character in a major role that I can think of. If I missed one, please comment down below. I might have forgot. Sorry, I did see a ton of movies this year. There were 4 films that I can remember that specifically went in to focus on LGBT stories. So we had Stonewall, which was a complete disaster because they whitewashed all the roles. They didn't accurately depict the story. And a very important story that should have been told. It was a wash. So I'm sure the LGBT community doesn't want claim to that movie, just brush it under the rug. We can all forget it even happened. But then we had Freeheld starring Julianne Moore and Ellen Page, which I really enjoyed, but didn't make much of a splash at all either, box office wise, critically, or on the award circuit. So that was there. It was a nice, lovely little film that also had a lesbian in real life depict a lesbian character, which is also fantastic to see. So I was very happy to see Ellen Page play that role there. And then we have The Danish Girl, starring Eddie Redmayne and Alicia Vikander, which dealt with transgender issues, which was really groundbreaking in terms of Hollywood because they've been pretty much scared and reluctant to ever touch that subject. So, yay there, and it is getting a lot of awards, but still, maybe not the front runner we had all anticipated, but it's still definitely in the conversation and in the running. And then we have Carol, starring Cate Blanchett and Rooney Mara, which really focuses on a lesbian relationship way back in the 1950s. Again, very much in the awards conversation. Probably going to pick up at least a couple of awards, but will get nominated, I think, for all of the major categories. But even looking at that list, only 1 lesbian actress was commissioned to play an LGBT character. All the rest were played by straight actors or actresses. Now, I'm not saying that, only gay actors can play gay characters or transgender actors can play transgender roles, but there are so few roles written for that community, and there are so many actors that are part of the LGBT blanket that it's always discouraging not to see them given these roles, and instead it's just given to the same old straight actors and actresses time and time again. The only other gay or lesbian actor or actress I can think that made any sort of significant role in a movie that made the top 100 is Matt Bomer in Magic Mike. This time, he got to play a straight character, which, also doesn't happen all that often, but that's encouraging. And I do want to focus on Magic Mike XXL just for a moment, since we're talking about women and LGBT in film, because I think Magic Mike actually has quite a bit to talk about on both the positives and negatives when it comes to both women and LGBT depiction in film. For one, it's about male strippers. And you have to think, I don't know exact percentages, but you have to know that a good portion of male strippers identify as gay or bisexual. I mean, you have to know that is the case. Not all of them. I won't even go as far to say the majority of them, but a good portion of male strippers have to align there. Yet, in this troupe, we have not seen anyone identify in the LGBT community, which I think would have been a great opportunity. It didn't even necessarily have to be Matt Bomer's character, because I don't want gay actors to get pigeonholed into just playing gay characters. But often people think that, gay people can't pass off as straight characters. No one will ever believe it, so they have to play gay characters. And that's why it's also discouraging to see gay roles written and then given to straight actors. But that's besides the point. Matt Bomer can play a straight male very well, so I'm glad he's not getting pigeonholed into playing a gay man over and over, and that's all he can do. But still, it would have been nice to maybe have a nod thrown to that in terms of one of the main male stripper characters being gay. Or there's this big male stripper convention, and the entire audience is women, which I also find a little bit weird. I didn't see a single gay male in that audience. Apparently, gay men don't like to look at male strippers. I don't know, I found it weird. But Magic Mike, I loved that they went into a gay bar. They were just chilling there. They played into the atmosphere. They enjoyed the atmosphere. That much I did like. They weren't afraid of a gay audience. They were participating in the drag show type stuff. That aspect of it was so progressive, and I loved that they pushed it there and broke out of the box that they kind of put themselves in the first movie about being for female audiences only. And in terms of women, I think Magic Mike XXL was one of the most empowering movies for women in all of 2015. Now, no, it didn't have empowering female characters. We still look at Furiosa for that. But it really had women feel sexually empowered. It had women of all different skin colors and body types on display here, and it really played up to the fact that women are queens, that these male strippers are here to satisfy the women's fantasies, again, no matter what you look like. And I thought that was a very powerful message for women to get out of this movie. So I think Magic Mike XXL was a bright point overall for both the LGBT and female communities. And again, we had some female badasses, even in movies where women weren't the leads. As I said, Furiosa, complete badass, my pick for the most awesome female character in any movie this year. And obviously that movie actually kind of pissed people off because it had such a strong feminist message. But you know what, screw all those people, how dumb. But we had the woman in Kingsman with the blades. She was freaking awesome, even though I thought Kingsman really undercut all of its female characters and was terrible for feminism in 2015. That's a different story. We continue to have Triss and Katniss in the Divergent and Hunger Games series. We had Rebecca Ferguson in Mission Impossible, who was awesome. Again, just a total badass. Emily Blunt and Sicario. And then we had things like Sisters that had, Tina Fey, Amy Poehler, a buddy comedy kind of feeling, but with two women. Woo! Something that Hot Pursuit also did. I know some of you really hated that movie, so I was hesitant to even mention it. And then we had two animated films that had awesome female leads. We had Inside Out and we had Home, who also, she was a co-lead, so she kind of sort of counts. So overall, it was an up year for women in movies, I think, and an okay, pretty stagnant year for the LGBT community. I'm still looking for a great breakthrough with LGBT characters in major franchises or big blockbuster pictures. They're just gay, or they're just bi, or they're just lesbian, or they're just transgender, something along those lines. And they're a main character in these movies, but that, their sexual identity doesn't define them. I'm waiting for it, Hollywood. Deliver it. Poe Dameron in Star Wars, maybe? But we'll see what 2016 brings. Hopefully more change for the better, huh? So what did you think of this discussion? Do you agree with the points I made? Did I make any points maybe you hadn't thought of? Do you have points that I missed? I look forward to discussing these issues with you all, either in the comment section down below or hit me up on Twitter. As always, I love you all so much for your support. Mwah! Thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye!